Written in the sky over Tel Aviv, the story of just how quickly and decisively this conflict has escalated. Central Israeli suburbs taking direct hits from an enormous barrage of rockets fired out of Gaza, concentrated into a few short minutes, a proportion piercing the Iron Dome interceptor defences. As military hardware was transported closer to the Gaza border, Israel's Prime Minister, Defence Minister and Internal Security Service Chief addressed an attack on central Israel, the like of which had not been seen in 3 Gaza wars since 2008.
Hamas and the Islamic Jihad will pay a heavy price for their aggressiveness. The blood is on their hands.
Hamas had warned of a major strike on Tel Aviv if Israel targeted residential buildings in Gaza. A little after sunset, after telling the families who lived here to get out, Israel's military did just that. The Israeli Prime Minister had warned of a gathering intensity and pace of attack. The army said the building was in part used by Hamas.
Italy is once again dealing with an influx of migrants. Here is the scene that is playing out once more on the tiny southern island of Lampedusa. About 20 boats carrying more than 2,000 migrants have arrived there just since Sunday. The holding center on the island can only accommodate about 1,000 people, and it is being just overrun. Many migrants spent the night sleeping on the street as they waited to be transferred to a quarantine ship today.
Well, with the better weather and the calmer seas, we're going to start seeing a lot more arrivals of migrants escaping the extortion centers in Libya, where many people are tortured, kidnapped, and they're trying to escape on small vessels to make it to Italy.
Exhausted and afraid, this community was forced to flee from their homes. In May, a shootout near their village in Ilaga between security forces and an armed group sparked fear among residents. This is Indonesia's Papua, and this community is not the first to be affected by violence in the country's east. In April, an Indonesian Special Forces general was shot dead by a pro-independence group, prompting Indonesian authorities to step up their clampdown on such groups. There are thousands of Indonesian troops already in the region. This video, produced by the Indonesian military, shows 400 soldiers who have just completed what the military calls special training for duties in Papua.
The Queen has carried out her first ceremonial duty since her husband's death, venturing out of Windsor Castle for the state opening of UK Parliament. The monarch displayed her trademark stoicism as she delivered the traditional Queen's speech, which sets out the government's agenda for the months ahead.
It was Her Majesty's 67th journey to a state opening of Parliament, but her first as a widow. In years gone by, she would arrive at the House of Lords with her husband by her side, but today it was Prince Charles, the new family patriarch, who took his mother by the hand and led her to the sovereign's throne.
My lords, pray be seated.
In a chamber full of people wearing masks and robes, the bare-faced Queen stood out in a lilac dress. The 95-year-old also opting not to wear the heavy crown jewels as she gave her ceremonial address.
My government will level up opportunities across all parts of the United Kingdom, supporting jobs, businesses and economic growth.
Brazil's federal government suspended the use of AstraZeneca vaccine for pregnant women nationally on Tuesday. The move came after an expectant mother in Rio de Janeiro died from a stroke, possibly related to the inoculation. Franciele Fontana, the coordinator of the Health Ministry's vaccination program, told reporters the national suspension was a precautionary measure after health regulator Anvisa issued a warning. But she stressed the death of the 23-week pregnant woman is a rare incident. Anvisa also said it had not been informed of any other adverse events in pregnant women receiving the vaccine.
When it comes to views of Indigenous rights and Indigenous peoples, those views must be from those Indigenous peoples for the Indigenous rights of our people. They can't be determined by people who are not Indigenous. So what I'm asking Ehikama to this House, tēnā koe te pirimea, is that if we find this attitude acceptable in this House, the constant barrage of insults to tangata whenua, then I find this House in disrepute. And
order. The member's mic's off, so he will resume his seat. Order. The member will now leave the chamber.
China has released data from its 2020 national census, and it shows the slowest population growth for decades. There are now 1.41 billion people in China, according to the latest official data. That's a 5.3% increase on the last time a census was held back in 2010, due in part to falling birth rates and a sharp drop in the number of working-aged people. There were around 12 million births in 2020, the lowest number since 1961, and the average size of a family is now 2.62 people. Now that is down from 3.1 people 10 years ago.